I'm Kara Peters, WUVA. With the upcoming state legislative elections in November, the Republican Party is fighting against the growing generation gap, which could lead to a Democratic sweep. I sat down with UVA College Republicans President Matthew Nalls and Secretary Christopher Tomlin to discuss the November election and their thoughts on being conservative in a majority liberal university, President Trump, and the possible apocalypse approaching the Republican Party. The College Republicans at UVA is a conservative political organization run entirely by students. The organization focuses on advancing Republican principles both on and off grounds.
We are always campaigning for different candidates, whether they're in Charlottesville and Albemarle or in other parts of the Commonwealth, or if it's also a federal election, we'll do stuff for that. Also, we host debates here. If it's the second semester, we do a lot of different outreach activities, a lot of social events and things of that sort. So the recruiting process starts with activities fair. So we'll come up with like t-shirt designs and things of that sort. And we'll get out there activities fair and do our best to reach out to everyone who's interested in us.
So what are some of the difficulties of maintaining a conservative Republican organization at a majority liberal university such as this?
Sure, so it's not a walk in the park. It's certainly not easy, but that certainly doesn't deter us either. There's definitely a conservative community here. They may not just be as loud as the rest of the students, but they definitely exist here. So truly the only difficulty is just tapping into that community and connecting with them. Now, of course, we'll get pushback. Of course, not everyone's happy with the speakers that we may have, but I would encourage them to come and listen to them. Don't just listen to one side. I think that's the beauty of having both parties represented here at this university.
Oftentimes people think about this party and then they think this isn't an all-inclusive party, but it definitely is.
We asked Matthew and Christopher about the College Republicans' relationship with their political adversaries, such as the University Democrats.
It's always been a working relationship. At the end of the day, we're just two sets of people with different goals, but just working towards the common good.
When we had the Unite the Right rally, there were some false accusations that some of our members were involved in the planning of that. And the University Democrats actually supported us when we came out and said that's not true at all. They backed us completely on it, and we truly appreciated that from them.
What are some instances where you are willing to work with them because of necessity?
I would say one example would be education reform. We had the college tuition freeze. That was something that we worked with them to achieve. I think also another example would be criminal justice reform.
In an article published in the New York Times, op-ed columnist David Brooks predicted a future decline in the Republican Party due to an increasing proportion of liberals in the younger generation. He referred to this as the GOP apocalypse.
So we definitely do see it as a problem, and a lot of our outreach efforts are focused on bringing young people in the Republican Party and actually saying this party isn't just for older people. I wouldn't say I worry too much about it. I definitely think it's worthwhile to reach out to younger voters, and that's something that we have struggled with.
Both generations see this as a problem and have made attempts to fix this issue. And I'd cite the recent tuition freeze across the Commonwealth. That was spearheaded by Speaker Kirk Cox, head of the Republican majority in the House. For them to be concerned and addressing college issues like that, I wouldn't say that there's so much of a gap as maybe described before.
Recently, California Governor Gavin Newsom foreshadowed the Republican Party becoming a third party due to the overwhelming tones of xenophobia and hypermasculinity.
We do not care about your race. We do not care about your gender or anything like that. What we care about are your ideals. Do you love liberty? Are you willing to defend freedom? Are you willing to think and protect and fight for things like we just described, free market capitalism, lower taxes, uplifting other people?
In 2016, the College Republicans dropped their endorsement of Trump mainly due to sexist remarks. However, to what extent does the club agree with some of the policies of President Trump?
I'll be completely upfront with you. During the primaries, I supported a different candidate, and one of my greatest concerns that his policies would not be conservative or in line with the Republican Party. But everything we've seen during the Trump administration, for the most part, has been in line with conservative principles. I mean, you have the Republican tax cuts, which have led to a booming economy. You've got he's working with the Democrats on immigration reform as we speak. This has been a president that has been willing to reach across the aisle and work with Democrats. And then it's something I don't think we talk about enough is the world right now. It's just we're in such a safe position right now. I mean, even with the issues we had with North Korea, I mean, there was just some outreach, and then we just haven't even heard from them in a while. Whereas at the beginning of the Trump administration, it looked like we were headed out to an all-out conflict.
On June 17th, in the court case, Virginia House of Delegates versus Bethune Hill, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that 11 districts in Virginia were illegally racially gerrymandered in the Republican Party's favor. The redrawing of districts could reduce the number of Republicans holding Virginia legislative positions.
While the decision didn't go our way, we are completely undeterred by that.
We've already developed a campaign strategy going into 2019. As soon as the Supreme Court made the ruling on the maps, we readjusted accordingly. We're already making plans to divide up our chapter within groups and just go out and campaign. Getting out and talking to voters is the best way to keep these seats, and that's exactly what we plan on doing.